Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Toonkind at 12 FPS. I am Oatmeal, and I'll be playing the Professor, real kind, alien, time traveling spaceman. Um, and in case it's not extremely clear, XB of the Doctor from Doctor Who, it'll become relevant possibly in this FPS. So, and with me here is.
Sorry, I couldn't keep myself from laughing. I was trying to keep quiet until I was introed. Hi, I'm Whirlwind Gale, otherwise known as Gale, otherwise known as Whirl. Depends on how you feel. And I am also here, and I am going to be playing my He Who Funky College student, Yuu Au'dienz, who is the reason that the info that Professor is in XP might be relevant. Having an isekai character from the real world is always so much fun.
Yeah. Oh boy. Right. So, our hook. Professor, has some minor businesses in Moria's office. He's kind of grounded right now anyway. The ellipsis is well, I mean, he can move around, but, the ellipsis is kind of parked in Villestown right now. So he's just kind of doing what he can here. And he got a tip from Moria to that there was another isekai here, and that Moria had hired them as her secretary. So that's a thing that's been on his to-do list, and well, now's why not? Why not? Yeah, why not check into that now? See what's up. So yeah, so he's gonna be going to Moria's office. What is you doing? As there is a knock at the door.
I'm gonna say that rather than being squirreled away in the sort of back archive storage section area, like he was last time we were here, this time you is actually sitting at his desk, in sort of the front hallway of Moria's office. Um, and he looks up from some of these glowing cyan slash green screens that he has flooding around him, and he kind of puts his hand on the top edge of them to push them down, slides the file he was working on aside, and says, "It's open."
Nice. The professor will open the door, all smiles, and just kind of swan in, looking around. He doesn't see Moria, but he does focus on the other person here. Oh, 1 second. Someone's trying to.
Oh. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do.
All right, all right. It is sorry about that. It is interesting being the designated chaperone for a bunch of siblings who can't quite drive yet.
Ah, that's you.
Yeah. Anyway,
Anywho,
Yeah.
yeah, Moria is not here. There is someone here, um, who you can only assume is the aforementioned new secretary,
Mm-hmm.
um, who, from what you can tell, looks fairly normal.
Mm-hmm.
Just looks like, a teenager, maybe from Tezuka because he's very anime,
Mm-hmm.
sitting behind a desk. Um, and he is likewise taking a gander at you.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to probably roll a wisdom save.
uh,
How well do you keep your fucking composure, my sweet boy? That's a natural 20.
ooh, wow. Very nice.
He's so good at keeping his composure, you guys.
Yee! All right, yeah, so the professor will approach the desk and offer his hand. Hello there. You must be Moria's new secretary. I'm the professor.
And you will, like, you can roll insight,
Mm.
Prof, because he didn't roll deception, he just rolled wisdom.
Well, unfortunately, that's only a 14.
Like I said, it wasn't a deception.
Mm.
So, there is very much like a visible moment of like recognition and blink blink. Okay, moving on.
Mm-hmm.
And very much the customer service smile, and he will take the handshake and smile and say, "Pleased to meet you, Professor. My name is Yuu Au'dienz. I am Miss Moria's secretary. Unfortunately, if you're looking to talk to her or any of our other detectives, they're not in today.
Ah,
Um,
all
but
right.
I'd be happy to help you in any other way that I can."
Yes, yes. Well, I wasn't looking exactly to speak to any of the detectives in particular, but I was thinking to um, look over a particular file, but also I was interested in talking to you.
Me.
Mm-hmm.
That gets a bit of a raised eyebrow because, like, sir, you just met me. Uh, but he doesn't comment on it because, again, customer
Yeah.
service.
Um, Moria told me I should talk with you.
Oh, oh, oh. Um, okay.
About.
Am I in trouble?
No, 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 no. You're trying to get somewhere. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, are you the one she asked to tell about the whole displacement situation?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, cool. That makes more sense. Actually, that makes a lot of sense. I should have guessed that. And he kind of, like, very much is just like, I should have guessed that looking at this guy, knowing who he very much looks like. I should have guessed,
Mm-hmm.
but this is fine. Um, and he kind of clears his throat and says, "Well, let's start with how I can help you out. Which file were you looking for? I've got the whole thing organized, so I'm sure I can find it for you."
Right. So, let's see. That would be, probably. The only one involving vampires. I don't know what they decided to name it.
Yes, there are a couple documents regarding that whole situation, but I remember reading about it. Let me just. And he will pull those screens back up, tab over to one that's marked with a little filing cabinet on it, pull it up, and it is a map of the filing system. And he kind of gets up from his chair, looks up at the professor, and is very polite. You can stay here if you like. We have chairs, we have water for guests. I also made snacks.
What? Where did you
Or,
get this?
huh?
Uh,
Oh,
it was a bunch of the hologram files, right?
mm-hmm.
Yeah, he just sort of like leans in and oh shoot, hang on.
Oh,
Car trouble. Give me a second.
insert Jeopardy music. Do 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 do.
Hello?
Hello, welcome back.
Hi. Sorry about that.
It's all good.
Alright. Okay, there's gonna be possibly a break in at least my recording, but, okay, yeah, Professor was asking, where did you get this?
Uh,
He's sort of leaning in to, like, get a closer look, and poke at the hologram screens.
right. At the mirror screens.
Yeah.
And you kind of pauses and just like, oh, right, those aren't normal here.
Mm-mm.
Um, it's just a bit of a extension of my and he kind of reaches under the lip of the desk and pulls out what looks from the back like a little gold compact mirror,
Hmm.
but when he turns it around, you can see that the inside, like, there is an actual mirror in it, but there's also a crystal in the bottom surrounded by a bunch of not buttons, but
Hmm.
slots, like the thing on a rotary phone.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, it's all from this. This is my pocket mirror. It's sort of combination telephone, computer, plot device, lots of things.
Interesting. Do you call it a plot device where you're from, or did you pick that up?
I picked that up.
Mm-hmm.
In the place where I got it from, it's just called a pocket mirror.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit more advanced than a cell phone. I got it from my friend Idia. He is very good with tech,
Mm-hmm.
which makes up for being not so good with people.
Yeah, I know the type.
He gave it to me as a gift after I, you know, showed him that, hey, it is possible to interact with other living beings without wanting to spontaneously combust. Shock! Awe! Absolute horror!
uh, well, interesting.
And you will set the pocket mirror back down on the table and just pick up the map screen again and say, the screens can sort of just be taken wherever you need to go within, like, a mile radius, I think it is.
Hmm.
Um, so that it works perfectly fine for just being in the building.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Is it, magical at all, or purely technological?
Well, it runs on a mage stone, but other
Ah,
than that, I'm pretty sure it's mostly tech. It's just powered by magic.
interesting. Hmm.
I'll admit, I never really understood the science part of it.
Mm.
I struggle with magic as it is.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to
Mm-hmm.
combine magic and technology, those are not my strongest suits.
Well, that's fair enough. It can be difficult.
hmm I know how to use it, so I'm not completely tech illiterate,
Hmm.
but that's about as far as my knowledge goes.
Mm-hmm. Are you trying to get back to... What did you say this place was called?
The mirror, and no, I would rather never go there again at all, ever
Oh.
in my life if I could avoid it.
Oh. Alright.
There is a slight tone of bitterness to that, of just, ugh.
Mm-hmm. So then, uh, is there somewhere else that you're from? That's not...
Yeah, I'm from Earth.
Ah. He like tilts his head a little bit, and uh God, I'm not sure. Do you want to roll insight to see what you can see?
Absolutely. That is my best stat.
All right. Because he is not immediately saying anything just yet.
That's a 26. Give me your secrets,
Oh,
sir.
holy crap. Okay. So there is there is a flash of, sort of recognition mixed with confusion, like you hit on something, but like enough to ping, but also it was slightly wrong. Like when you give I don't know, like when you turn in a like math assignment, they're like, I don't know, like you did it all wrong, but you got the right answer. So I don't know how you ended up here. And he's just kind of hesitating because he's not sure how much he should say.
You will kind of look at that and take his silence as, you know, right, that place doesn't exist by most people's impressions. And he's like, it's pretty far away from what I can tell. The last place I was in, they swore it didn't exist from their perspective, so...
Interesting. Could just be a matter of. Can you describe it?
Sure. Let's walk and talk, though.
Sure.
And he will, pick up the map screen again and head towards the back. Possibly pausing to grab something sweet from a tray of baked goods on the way. And he'll explain, it's not too different from around here. It's just, it is different in that toons don't exist. None of this exists. The only, I hesitate to say intelligent life because most animals are to some degree intelligent, but
The higher degrees of sapience.
that's the bitch. Everyone's human. Because they're the only sort of people who were there. And there's no magic. Which might explain why other things aren't there.
Well, yes, certainly there are certain races that are intrinsically magical.
It's, from what I can tell, a little tiny bit further away in development from this place, tiny bit further forward, but not by much. This would be like our 1950s-ish, just going on aesthetics. And we were in our 2020s.
Huh. See, I recognize that, that time scale, that. But it doesn't quite. I wonder. What's, I don't know. A famous place, famous, historical figure, celebrity.
Famous, like,
World
historical
famous.
landmark? World famous.
Just-
Okay, that does help narrow it down a bit, because I'm from the United States, so we have a very inflated opinion of ourselves, and so I've heard lots of things are famous. I've heard Waffle House is famous, but
He's got like the same look that he had the first time of like, oh my god, it's so close, but it's not quite right.
and he kind of waves a hand and is just, well, there's the Taj Mahal. There's um there's the Duomo in Florence. I liked reading about that one. It was very fun. Um Very fascinating the way they did the architecture, but that's not what you were asking me about. There's the White House in my home country, which is sort of known. If you want more natural features, there's Yellowstone Park, which was pretty close to me. Same as Sequoia. Um,
Okay. This is this is interesting. This is interesting because I know a place that's very, very similar. It has places with very similar names, but they're not quite the same.
would it have to be this dearth thing that Detective Christie mentioned the other day?
Detective. Oh, well, yes? Well, yes, the place I'm thinking of is Darth.
He mentioned that the way I pronounce the name of my home world is a funny way to pronounce dearth.
Ah. Uh. Darth is spelled, Dearth. Earth is usually, well,
That knock off the D.
exactly, exactly. I mean, we have the word Earth here. It just usually
Means
refers to.
dirt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no. Uh, I live on a planet called Dirt. We did an amazing job naming her. Wonderful job, really. We are so good at names. Which is why we have Iceland and Greenland. Greenland is full of ice. Iceland is full of green. We are so smart.
You see, that's where I'm having trouble, is because Darth has those. But Iceland has ice and Greenland is green, and it's the Majtahal, and it, instead of the, what was it, United States of America, it's the Unified Providences of Pezvuchi.
That is certainly a name.
But it's the same place that has Ochre Rock and and the Black House. It just, it's like,
I really did manage to find my way through the looking glass, didn't I?
it seems so.
Now everything's backwards.
Well, if you're not from Darth, where?
He kind of sighs and starts pulling open drawers. Riverside. I don't know if that helps any, but Riverside, California. Or at the very least, that's where I'm trying to get back to.
I see. See, the thing is, I know the counterpart location on Darth, as it seems that there are many of those.
Seems like it may be a bit of a one-to-one translation, maybe a bit of a bootleg situation.
Maybe.
Though which is a bootleg of the other, I am honestly unsure.
I don't know. Well, and then there is the issue. Darth is not exclusively populated by humans as the I suppose foremost sapient species. There are some others, and Darth does have some magic.
Then that
That's
wouldn't be it then.
no. That's very interesting. That's not to say that there aren't other places in this plane that are completely devoid of magic. They exist.
Well, I
But,
should hope so.
well, certainly. I don't know that there are any significant. Well, I don't know enough about Satori to say that for sure. Um, but there are entire worlds that simply just don't have any magic.
Yuu nods. I've been working on my own sort of little project as a means of getting home.
Hmm.
I decided to go about it from maybe a different angle than would be the most direct because, theoretically you could get there spatially. After all, if you have the directions, you can get anywhere.
Hmm.
But I don't have the directions because I don't know how I don't know what it took to get me into the mirror, much less to get me here.
Hmm.
So I have no idea where I am at the moment, aside from I am in Villestown in Einquell on Zatori.
Hmm.
That doesn't tell me much.
Well, no. It, if you're from a sort of sister world to Darth, they wouldn't know a thing about this place. It's billions of light years away.
It's also conceptually very far away. That's sort of the angle I tried taking for my own project.
Hmm.
And he will kind of like there's a set of tabs on the side of the um sort of map screen that he has, and he will tap one of them and pull up what looks like an in progress blueprint
Hmm.
of like a magic mirror. And he says, "This is the sort of thing that we used back in the mirror for teleportation and travel. Admittedly, they were a lot more decorative than this. And the way they work is don't they don't link places in space. They reflect people, and in reflecting, they read people and can find where that person is trying to go.
Hmm.
The one in the mirror didn't work to send me home, but, well, it sent me here, which was apparently the closest it could find, which means that from here, if I can reconstruct it, I can probably get it to send me home.
You, you mean make your own mirror?
Yes, that's what I'm working on.
Hmm. How do you know it won't just do the same thing?
I don't, but I figure the closer I can get conceptually, then the closer I get to something that can help me.
Hmm. Was there a known fault in the mirror that sent you here?
No, it was famous in that it was incredibly powerful and could find anywhere that existed. It at one point a bunch of our students got kidnapped by Halloween spirits and brought into a little pocket world, and it managed to find that.
Huh. Interesting.
But when it came to me, it said place where I belong does not exist. Don't know if that just meant it was too far away, or maybe if it was far away in a different means, but the mirror's magic worked on concepts, so I figure the closer I get conceptually to home, the easier it becomes.
Possibly. There's another matter. You certainly appear to be a Toon.
Oh, yeah, that's just a bit of translative transmutation.
A bit of what?
You know, translative transmutation. The... Oh,
I mean, I know what those words
fuck.
mean, but
How did the old crow explain it? Like, when you come from somewhere really far away and your you isn't really jazzed to be in a place where your existence goes against the rules, so it bends and you change to go with the rules?
so, but humans exist here.
Well, yes,
So
but I
why
wasn't human when I left the mirror, so maybe
you
it just
weren't?
went to the next best thing. No, like I said, translative transmutation. Not my first time at the rodeo. I had it explained to me before. Um, I was an archetype when when I entered the mirror, the translative transmutation thing made me an archetype. And when I came here, it made me a Toon, so I have to assume that those two are conceptually similar. And hopefully, when I go back, I will be me-shaped again.
Well, based off the word alone, archetype, yes, it is probably most similar to a Toon out of all the. Out of most of the intelligent species I can think of, but. That's, interesting. That's not, I mean, that must be some property of the mirror, because that's not a universal, that's not something that usually happens.
It's not?
No, not at all. As an expert in world hopping, it's not. You don't
Huh.
automatically get changed to fit a place, even if it doesn't agree with you. Usually, you either find a way to adapt over time and, well, usually suffer a bit in the beginning.
That sounds unpleasant.
It is, it is. And, well, and then there's the thing where if you spend long enough in a place that's different enough from where you started, you can start to, even if it didn't exactly reject you, you can sort of gain features from that place. I mean, you know, if you put an animal in a different environment, as long as
It
it,
will evolve to survive.
yes, if it doesn't die outright.
Right. That tracks. He kind of frowns and says, "That's strange, because the way Crowley explained it to me, he made it sound like it was a fairly common phenomenon. No one else had ever experienced it, but then world hopping wasn't particularly common in the mirror. It was more of, it was understood conceptually that if you were to move to another world, either its magic would have to change you to make you suit its rules, or you would have to change to fit it.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you don't want to go all glitchy and weird like Spider-Verse. No, bad.
No, no.
That is a less than ideal situation to be in.
Yes.
I believe that is what those in the medical industry would call a problem.
Yes, typically. Interesting that this Crowley knew what it was, although it wasn't a sort of a known phenomenon.
Well, it was sort of his expertise.
Really?
He was very interested in teleportation magic for some reason.
Uh-huh. Um, hmm. Huh. And you well, here's maybe a place where Earth and Darth don't quite match up, but um you had no issue trusting the word of somebody with that name?
Well, I mean, obviously, there's Crowley the demonologist and Crowley the character from Good Omens and
Different names, but
Crowley
yes.
the character from Supernatural, and they're all demon associated, but I mean, to be fair, one of the people I would consider a friend from that world had the name Vil. Another was Malleus. Weird names were just kind of the standard. And, I mean, it's not exactly like I can talk.
Uh, he sort of tilts his head like he's not sure. I forget, did he? I don't think he gave his full name, did he?
He said Yuu Au'dienz. He didn't give his full name because he never gives his full name.
Okay, he said you. Okay. How do you spell your surname?
My surname? A-U apostrophe D-I-E-N-Z.
That's interesting.
Mom says it's French, but I don't think that's right.
Huh. Well, I, well, now I'm not sure, but I was, I was thinking something about maybe you'd gotten it in the mirror because it sounds an awful lot like you, the word, Y-O-U, and audience. Which, if we're going with archetypes, I don't know, some sort of,
I'm not an observer, and he kind of wrinkles his nose at the idea. U is short for Uriel. It's the name of a character from one of my mother's favorite books. She named me after the protagonist, and Au'dienz was our family name.
could just be happenstance then.
I just go by you because Uriel is a lot.
Fair enough.
And he kind of smiles and says, but I wasn't an observer in the mirror. I'm a beast tamer. Or was a beast tamer.
What kind of beasts?
Well, it's not necessarily literal, but and he does whistle And Professor, make a perception check.
That is, remind me what my modifier is. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought it was. That's only an 11.
The DC was 10. You're good.
Oh, right.
Because at that whistle, a partially on fire cat pokes her head into the room and then struts up and hops up onto Yu's shoulder.
Oh, well, hello there.
Meow.
Oh.
This is Dyer. She's my companion, sort of.
Mm-hmm. Well, my apologies. I don't seem to be familiar with your particular dialect, but it is good to meet you.
Meow. Actually, does the professor speak Infernal?
Unfortunately, he does not.
Then yeah, no, he wouldn't understand her.
Yeah.
There's just this very on fire cat sitting on this boy's shoulder, and he says, Dyer was sort of the reason I got tagged as a beast tamer, I guess, because I'm kind of the only one who knows how to keep her in line. It's a lot of bribery. She really likes tuna. And he kind of scratches her under the chin. But a lot of the time it was a lot less literal. Beast tamer is just the name for the type of archetype who is a subset of... Oh gosh, what was the exact terms? The beast tamer is a subset of the hero archetype that, rather than having much personal strength, instead has the ability to guide and lead others, taming the beasts in the heart of men.
That's fascinating.
It sounds really lofty when I put it like that. Basically, I'm an idiot wrangler.
Interesting terms.
I don't have magic of my own, so in a world that magic was considered power, well, it is power, I don't have magic of my own, so no one took me seriously. But that meant when I had the right idea and knew the right strategy, it would be really embarrassing to ignore me and be proven wrong.
I see.
So my mundanity was very good at getting people to work together. I don't know if that's carried at all, but luckily I haven't had to try.
Well, you're... I'm a little less, surprised that you're not, quite as, bothered by the idea of a, experienced interplanetary traveler, given the sort of odd happenings that, you're describing in the mirror.
I mean, it's not conceptually too hard to grasp. And for what it's worth, I may have a point of reference, but that's just a story. He kind of shrugs and says, at this point, I'm kind of just running on the logic of, you know what? This is all so weird, this might as well happen.
Well, stories. Yes, well, I can sort of see that. I mean, even just this place, not that I'm not from Darth, but, they would consider this place, these people, the things of stories of, well, cartoons.
Some of them. Others, books. Some video games.
Right. Hmm.
It's certainly been an experience.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. Let's see, from... Well, if I was able to locate Earth, I would possibly have the means to get you there. Um, but, I do need to locate it first.
You kind of blinks in surprise. It's just, okay, is there any way I can help with that or pay you back for that?
Oh, you don't need to pay me back. Um, I don't know how you could help, though. Uh, I don't know. How much do you know about, astronomy? On Darth specifically? No, Earth. Goodness.
Well, I'll admit science was never my area of expertise. I've always been more of a arts and literature person, but I
Mm.
know the basics. And he kind of like holds up his hands to start rattling things off on his fingers like we are in the solar system with the main star being Sol. Uh I know the planets, I don't remember what order they go in. I'm pretty sure Mercury's closest to the sun. We named them all after our gods.
Mm.
Well, after one of our many cultures' gods. Specifically the Romans, which is funny because the Romans had a habit of just stealing things from other people and slapping another name on them. Uh, so why would they have the naming of the planets to them? I guess it's because they're an empire. Empires always get big heads. He
Oh,
kind of shakes.
absolutely. Absolutely.
He shakes his head. You get a little bit of, mass appeal, mass power, and suddenly you think you have the right to name the solar system, and no one has the right, and no one has the fucking gall to question you on it. But anyway,
Yes, well, the, winners tend to... The victors tend to write the books.
it's a shame because it makes history so biased.
Oh, absolutely. But yes, no, anything you could, anything you could remember about that, would help place it. Um,
I know it's in the Milky Way galaxy, if that's worth anything.
mm,
Uh, I know it is the third planet from the sun?
mm-hmm.
Fourth? Can't remember. Third or fourth. Can't remember if Mars is before or after us. I think it's before. No, it's after. No. He kind of like thinks and just you can very much tell that this is not his skill set.
Yeah, he sort of puts a hand up, like, it's all right. Don't. If you could just, uh, think on it every once in a while, and if you remember something, write it down. Um,
I can absolutely do that.
all right. Because then I could see about trying to, uh, sort of triangulate it. If you've got uh, any memory of, stars, night sky, constellations, that would be immensely
Those.
helpful. Hmm.
I know those.
Oh,
He
well.
kind of perks up a bit and just I like I said, literature student. I studied a lot of history and myths and anthropology. And
Hmm.
so constellation myths are fascinating because they are usually the most consistent across cultures.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Everyone's
like
looking at the same sky. More
yeah,
or
even
less.
if you're looking at it from a different angle, you might see something different, but
Mm-hmm.
everyone knows the stars.
Mm-hmm.
Even across the planet from Greece, we still had Ursa Major and Ursa Minor. They were some of the brightest stars in the sky. You really couldn't miss them. Same with Orion's Belt.
Mm-hmm.
So I know a few star constellations.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of shakes his head and then looks back to the files, like a bit embarrassed because I snapped, or not snapped, I went off. Oopsie.
Yeah, Professor doesn't seem bothered. He seemed to be interested in the information. Well, it's just the oddest thing. I might just have to start looking for a very, very similar planet to Darth that I simply haven't come across before. Because even the star systems seem not
Weirdly similar.
eerily similar. Not exactly the same, but too similar.
That honestly makes sense. That's been a bit of the experience with everything around here.
Mm.
People are very, very similar to stories I've heard, but not the exact same, or things are similar to what I know, but not the exact same. You guys have Starbeaks here, which proves my theory that Starbucks is universal and cannot be avoided. We had something very similar on my home planet, and there was, in my home state, practically one on every fucking corner. You could round a corner and there would be another Starbucks.
Mm.
Which really just shows the coffee addiction. Which I will never understand. But to each their own.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at this point he does, like, find the file the professor was looking for in the drawer.
Yeah. Professor has sort of gotten a little distracted because, like, God, it's like everything out of this kid's mouth is like, fuck, that's so close to something from Darth. But it's not quite right. He's just having this phenomenon, like, over and over again.
Welcome to Yu's life.
Uh-huh.
This is what his life has been for the past 4 years. Get on his level.
Yeah, yeah.
You were looking into the vampire case, right?
Yes, that's the one.
This is the main file. There are a couple other documents I could pull if you want to take a look at those. They're just in different cabinets.
The main one will do fine.
And you will hand that to him and then pause and say, 1 second. And he will head over to a different corner of the room, pick up a box that sort of rattles as he picks it up, and then hold that box out to the professor. Pick a stamp, any stamp.
He'll pick out a stamp.
Alright, you're going to want to stamp that on the card on the inside, just so we know who's taken it. It's a matter of, library system, keeping a record of who's had what, where things have been.
Oh, I don't intend to bring it anywhere. I just wanted a peek.
Oh, well then. No stamp necessary, but if you'd like, you can still stamp it. Because stamps are fun.
That's alright. He's gonna put it back.
And you will set the stamp box on top of one of the filing cabinets. Mm-hmm. He does have to go up on tiptoe to do so.
You still has the file, right?
No, he handed it to the professor.
Oh, okay. In that case, he will open it up, and start to, seemingly skim through it. In reality, he is, speed reading. because he can do that. And he just sort of flips through it, and pauses for a moment at the end, sort of thinks, seems satisfied, nods, and steps over to hand it back to you.
And you will take it, pop it back in its place in the drawer. Close the drawer back up.
Thank you.
Of course. Doing my job.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of says, you were already on the approved list, so... Gives a little thumbs up.
Very good. This is... I admit I wasn't, involved with the files directly, mostly, but I did certainly see the stacks of paper around the office occasionally. This is, good work.
Yu actually brightens at that and smiles and says, thank you. I do my best. I try to keep things organized. Moria's paperwork stack is a many-headed hydra that takes... I do not have enough fire in the world to cauterize all those stumps. Goodness gracious.
Yes.
But we try to keep on top of things. And a lot of it is mail for other people.
Ah. Yes.
Or some of it.
Right, yes. That reminds me. I'd forgotten. I'd actually, meant to check if there was anything for me, because I had asked Moria, if I could have mail sent here, because I don't have a mailbox.
Well, that would be a problem, wouldn't it? Let's go check. And he will head over to sort of Moria's desk to see about any mail for the professor.
Yeah, there won't be anything. He's only given one person this address and they haven't contacted him yet. But he's checking.
Mm-hmm. And you kind of looks it over and shakes his head and says, it doesn't seem to be anything here.
Alright, I wasn't, expecting anything this soon anyway.
So, if you don't mind me asking, if you don't have... Gosh, that... Never mind, that's a really rude way to ask that. Never mind. Yu kind of shakes his head. Because the question he wants to ask is, if you don't have a post office if you don't have a mailbox, do you not, like, live here? Because, you know, he knows certain things about Doctor Who, but he never really watched the show in depth. So he just kind of assumed, yes, the box thingy is a spaceship. Assuredly, this person must have a house somewhere.
But that sort of diversion now has the professor, curious. Well, is there a different way you could say the question? You probably won't offend me.
See, I've had people tell me that before, and then 30 seconds later they're trying to kill me. So, we prefer to avoid that situation.
Fair enough.
It's just a matter of... Do you not have an address to mail things to?
No. Not in Satori.
Oh, but elsewhere.
I technically have one on Darth. in the 1970s, but I haven't... Mail from here can't get there.
Oh, yeah, no, that would make sense. It's another planet.
Right.
So, are you from Darth then?
No. No.
Oh,
Darth is simply the last place I was sort of staying for an amount of time. Now I'm here.
oh, that makes sense. I can understand that. Do you like it here?
I do. I like it here very much.
That's good. It's always good when people like the places they are.
Mm-hmm. So, let's see. This translational transmutation is...
Hmm?
Would you mind if I, Would you mind if I try to figure something out, about that?
Now, see how I could stop you.
Well, I need your hand for about a minute.
Oh, as long as it's okay for me to keep my gloves on.
Oh, yes, it should be fine.
Cool. It's fine.
Alright, Professor is going to, take his hand, and, it does take a minute to cast, so he'll probably, like, do some small talk about, I don't know, the weather or something. Just because otherwise, God, it's very awkward. But he is going to cast Identify.
Dang. Okay, remind me what Identify does, because I know it's not the same thing as Detect Magic.
Yes. Let's see. I will put it in the... Oh, that's the gallery. Oops. Well...
Wrong channel!
Yeah. Well, there it is. So, you want to skip all the beginning bits, because at the end, the beginning part is about an object. The bottom part is about a person. If you instead touch a creature throughout the casting, you learn what spells, if any, are currently affecting it.
Okay. Okay, interesting. All right. So here's the weird thing.
Mm-hmm.
There is definitely a presence of magic here, and I think you do kind of get a sense for what kind of magic it is.
Mm-hmm.
Which is mostly transmutation, but partially enchantment. That's sort of the surface level stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna need you to roll me Arcana, or another check of your choice if you have anything that you think would be better.
The only thing
If
I
you
can
want
think of that
detail.
would be comparable would be history, but I don't think, if this isn't something he's encountered before, just gonna be Arcana.
Go with Arcana then.
Got it.
Because I don't think the professor has ever been to the mirror.
Nah. Places in a similar sort of vein as it, maybe, but not specifically the mirror. Else he would have recognized probably some of the stuff he's been talking about. That is a 6, unfortunately.
Yeah.
This also might be a good time to try the other thing.
Go ahead.
All right.
With a 6, I can tell you there is a presence of magic as spell casting here. You cannot tell which spells, because it's all kind of very, very muddled.
I see. Oh. So it's not working today. It's not working right now.
I would offer you advantage if you'd like, just because we have talked about this, but...
Yeah. I will roll again. No. The dice said
Damn.
no. Well, then again, it is technically passive, and this is an FPS, and we're, like, DM is allowed to invoke it. Do you want to?
If you'd like, if you think this is something fun, hell yeah, I am all for enabling my friends.
Yes. I do think this would be interesting. Alright, in that case, I'm gonna roll perception.
All that Persepi.
I got a nat 1. This is not fair.
Fudge the dice. God damn it.
God, just give me a number that's better than that. Okay, I will take that. 22.
God damn. Okay. Dice heard your pleas, I guess.
Yeah, I only had to roll it. We're really fudging it, but
Hey, it's fine. It's fine.
it's
We
an
are here to
FPS.
have fun.
Yeah.
We are here to have fun, and dice are a fuck. So what is Prof trying to perceive?
So, with the True Sight ability, he is trying to perceive, you. And see what he can see. If there is anything, of his person, in his person, around his person. For example, if there was, like, a ghost hanging around next to him, he would be able to see it, even if it's on the ethereal plane. So, like, stuff like that. He knows what his ability allows him to see, and he's trying to see if there's anything to see on this kid. Sometimes there isn't anything, which is valid, but he's checking.
And here's where some of our warnings for this FPS come into play. Because, oh boy, there is something to see here. You so far have been talking to a very normal-looking person. What you are looking at now barely constitutes as a person. It is vaguely person-shaped, but rather than being, lines and shapes and colors, it is instead comprised of black ink. And there are glowing, sickly yellow... crap, my voice is foggy. 1 second. There are glowing, sickly yellow lines wrapped around where the wrists would be, wrapped around the throat, and set into where the face would be. Instead of any sort of expressive face is a mask made of pure white chalk, with a very neutral expression. And at the throat, the mark, which you maybe overlooked because it just looked like, a normal tattoo that someone might have on their neck. No, that is something that is very clearly magic and is very much glowing in a way that looks bad. Like, how when you're standing in front of a volcano and the magma is black, or not the magma, the lava is black on top where it is cooled, and then it continues to flow and it cracks and you see that glow of reddish gold from the inside. It's that.
Glowing from the inside.
But it also seems to be drawing light in more than it is letting light out. And also, because Dyer is still in the room. If you look around, there is just a silhouette of that cat, but completely made out of fire.
Yeah, he takes this all in. And from Yu's perspective, there was Professor would have explained like it takes a minute to cast. So it's been a minute, and then he was just kind of quiet and like looking him up and down for another few seconds. Eh, a long few seconds. And then he lets go of his hand and straightens back up and puts his hand to his chin.
Any for your thoughts?
Well, there is transmutation magic there, but also enchantment magic, which around here tends to mean the sort of magic that influences people to act a certain way, whether they want to or not.
That. He does not know how to respond to that. Because he has an idea of what that could be.
Mm-hmm.
But also,
That's concerning.
Yeah, concerning is definitely a word for it.
Have you gotten yourself checked out either medically or magically since you arrived in Zatori?
Yes, I had a checkup with Dr. Everlight.
Mm-hmm.
After certain shenanigans in which I and a friend of mine, we'll go with friend of mine, because acquaintance sounds cold, in which I and a friend of mine experimented with potions, did it the way that I'm used to doing it, which is apparently not how you're supposed to do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently you are not supposed to test the potions on yourself, which is wild, because you're supposed to test them on yourself, because if you test them on anyone else, that's unethical.
Yes, it depends regionally what the practice is, but given you were talking to Crystal, yes, I imagine that she was not
Overly chuffed with us.
No.
No, she was very square about her opinions. And she let us know what they were, and it was very much like getting caught with your hand in the cookie jar.
Yes, she's like that.
She's lovely.
Yes.
But she is also like that.
Yes.
You can tell the capital letters.
Yeah, absolutely.
She said that with Detect Magic, I looked like I had a bunch of magic sticking to me, but that's about it.
Sticking to you. That's interesting. There's certainly something else. I got the transmutation. I got the enchantment, which I wasn't able to identify, ironically, because that's the name of the spell, wasn't able to identify specifically what kind of enchantment. But, well, actually, that does make a sort of sense. If it was from the mirror, it wouldn't have the signature wouldn't line up exactly with spells that I know from here.
would track different magic systems in different places. I don't think I've seen anyone use the four the four element system here, so that would track.
Not here. There are some. I can think of some other places I've been that use that one, but not here. At, so the enchantment, the transmutation, and there was something else under that, which might explain the magic sticking to you bit. There was just a variety of other things that I couldn't quite make out.
Actually gets a slightly concerned look because this is the first he's heard of there being other stuff besides the general goop.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just, well, that's disconcerting. I don't think anyone has cast anything on me besides you and besides Crystal attempting something that did not go well.
He blinks. What was it? If it didn't go well?
I think it was one of the restoration spells.
Do you remember
Unfortunate.
lesser or greater?
I can't remember if it was lesser or greater. Maybe lesser? I'm not sure. He kind of scratches the back of his neck and it says, unfortunately, due to... there's no polite way to say it. Due to my condition...
It reacted badly to you?
No, it got eaten.
Is he sort of lifts his chin and pulls at his scarf a bit to point at his throat. Is that what that's about?
Very good intuition. Yes, it is. This, and he kind of tips his head back and gestures to the mark, which, if you look at it, looks kind of like from far away, it might look like a very simplified eye, but actually being able to look at it, it is a sort of spiral that pulls in on itself from both sides. And he says, this is called a Fasira rune. Back in the mirror, we use them for little enchantments. Things like making a cauldron, or making a flying broomstick, or making a magical lock. It was...
Those were simple things.
Yes, simple. The intention of the rune is simple. It's effectively a means of drawing in magic from the outside and pulling it into something that would otherwise be considered mundane.
I see.
Or that would otherwise have no capability of holding magic, which is why, you use it for cauldrons, because that's what makes a cauldron able to make potions instead of just weird soup.
Very interesting. Our magic system doesn't necessarily quite work like that. I mean, you would have to argue about different, specifically enchanting items, but there are some magical species that work in a similar manner, but they rely on ambient magic energy, that is.
This one's a little different. So the usual Fasira rune is this, but sideways. Rotate 90 degrees. And he kind of sighs and says, whoever put it on me did it wrong. And so effectively it can be... I don't have magic of my own, but using this I can cast spells. It just hurts. And also it eats magic cast on me, if that magic is of a specific kind. Particularly healing magic. It really seems to like anything that has life energy.
Well, that's,
Terrifying.
a bit.
Yeah, I've got my own personal guillotine. Isn't it lovely?
If, if your origin weren't so, convoluted, I would have, maybe seen that and thought you a, thaumativore, but simply a being that, well, eats magic, essentially. But it's not that simple. When did you acquire this, this, this rune?
I've had it since I woke up in the mirror, but I only really noticed it when... Oh, goodness. And he kind of puts his head in his hands of just... It was such a stupid situation. So, like I said, I'm an idiot wrangler. I wound up in a situation, my original sort of state of living at the school that I stayed at in the mirror, I wasn't a student, I was a janitor. And basically I was working to keep my place to stay. And I was also responsible for this one. And he, holds up Dyer. I was responsible for her. And she was supposed to help me with chores. She refused to do so. Got in a fight with another student. Got us in bigger trouble. Basically, domino effect, we broke a very expensive chandelier. And so we had to go to the spooky abandoned dwarf mines to get a mage stone of sufficient quality to fix the thing. And I did not know that I was able to... I did not know that this thing was on me, because obviously I didn't have access to a real mirror. Because, everything was dusty and broken and covered up in ramshackle. I put so much work into that place. I really hope they maintain it. But... I didn't know that this was there until we were going up against this very large thing that wanted us very much dead. Because it was running on the last impulse that it had, and that was to protect the crystal. Because the thing that had followed, the thing that had made it succumb to what it did was greed. Or not even really greed. I feel so bad for the people in that village. They really were just trying to survive. They didn't know what was going to happen. But regardless, it was trying to kill us. And then I yelled at it to... And then he says something which... Professor, I'm going to need you to roll something. I don't know what you might want to roll. I don't know if this is going to be intelligence or arcana. Your choice.
Arcana's more.
Then go off.
Alright.
I really need to memorize what I use for Old Trade.
No chance I could use history?
You could. It'll be a slightly higher DC.
I'll risk it because my modifier's a good deal better. Well, we'll see about that. Let's see. That is... If I could just type it... 14.
I'm gonna say with a 14, you understand that the word being said is in common. And you can sort of get the vibe of you have heard people speak in this way before, where there is so much magic overlaid into that word that it stops making sense. But you can't tell what was actually said. And Yuu doesn't seem to realize he's done this as he continues on and says, I told it to... And it did. It halted in its tracks, just long enough for my classmate to drop a cauldron on its head.
You told it to... Say that again?
I told it to stop.
Interesting. When you said it before, it sounded significantly different. There was a lot of magic behind it.
Oh, dang it, I did it again. And he kind of shakes his head and says, yeah, no, that happens sometimes. And he will tilt his head and say a full sentence in that tone, which, again, that is common. Those words are common. They are not registering. Like that?
Yes, like that. I didn't understand any of that. It was too garbled by the magic.
Yeah, that's old trade. It's... So, the mirror didn't speak common. And because of that, common had... Words in common, said with the right inflection, said with the right intention, had power, had magic. And they called it old trade.
So your native language sort of ended up being their, ancient magic tongue.
Effectively, which was very funny to me, because I could sing Disney songs, and it would have catastrophic effects on the world around me. I saved someone's life with a song from a children's movie. It was wild.
My, that does sound fun.
It wasn't fun in the moment, but it was certainly interesting to think about later. There's also the whole thing with summoning forest animals. That was weird, but it was very useful. And it scared the shit out of some of my classmates, which was very funny. Because no one expects for you to summon them for chore day and then turn around, throw all the windows open, start singing, and summon an absolute deluge of tiny forest critters to help you.
No, not... no, not usually. That's...
And that one still at least partially works, which is hilarious.
Probably similar enough to a sort of equivalent here that it at least magically translates. Interesting. So, you noticed it then?
And I went to the headmaster about it later, and Crowley told me, oh, that's a Fasira rune. You shouldn't have that. That's going to kill you. And it's like, great, thanks. Can I unhave this information? He's like, no. In fact, I will give you more information, like the fact that it can't be taken away. And it was, and, you know, there was a reaction of, what? Okay, who did this? We don't know.
Have you gotten a second opinion?
Yes, from my potions professor. Professor Cruel was more of an expert on that sort of thing than Crowley, and yeah, no, once it's inscribed on a person, it can't really be taken off. Because the usual way it's done is by carving the symbol in. Obviously, with where it's put, no one carved it on me. But I don't think they have laser tattoo removal in the mirror. And they certainly didn't have magical laser tattoo removal.
Huh. So, how is it killing you?
Oh boy, that's a bit complicated. So, like I explained, the Fasir rune can draw in magic from the outside. Yes?
Yes, and it's sideways, so it's been applied wrong.
It's sideways, so it's been applied wrong, and that makes its effect different. Because, see, usually the idea is magic flows in from one side, goes round the spiral, gets drawn into the object, and then the excess flows out the other. But somebody closed this one and drew it sideways, so instead, magic gets drawn in and then sinks down towards all of the vital pieces, which not ideal. And it was never meant to be put on organic material. It was not meant to go on living tissue, which means every time I use magic, well, you know how when you turn on a light bulb, the filament inside heats up? And you're not supposed to touch a light bulb because it will burn your hands?
Yes.
I don't have an option on whether or not I touch the light bulb.
Well,
with where it is, it's effectively, if I use too much magic, it will. And he does a little gesture, hand across the throat.
yeah, he's nodding.
Which, less than ideal, but if I can get home, the fact that my homeworld has no magic will render it null.
That sounds like it would work. Although the fact that it isn't releasing any magic, you'd still have magic in you.
Yes, and I would have to find a way to release that slowly so that it doesn't hurt me.
Yes.
Which might be difficult given
there's no magic.
Yeah, but the point would be that it wouldn't be taking anything more in.
No, and that's good. Maybe
that's what does the most damage.
Right. Huh. Well, unfortunately, there is a... there is a... I'm thinking of a word and I can't find it, but there's a significant amount of ambient magic here. I don't know if it's enough to sort of qualify for that particular glyph to pick up, but I have a feeling it probably is. Let's see, ideally you would... Well, I imagine you've already asked people not to cast healing spells and such on you. What about other spells? Because Identify didn't seem to do anything painful. Either that or you've got a good poker face.
Identify, from what I can tell, from what I've studied of this world's magic, is...
Divination.
Right. It's not a transference of energy.
No.
Anything that's a healing spell is a transference of life energy from one source to another. So it gets eaten because it's... Well, it's meant to be eaten. It's meant to get absorbed into your body, except on me, it just sort of
accelerates
goes.
that. Pulls too much.
And I I haven't been, luckily, in any particular situation where I've been injured and in need of healing magic.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been just a matter of, now that I know if I ever am in that situation, I'll just say, no thanks. I can handle it.
Hmm.
Because I
You...
don't want anyone to get hurt.
Right. You may want to invest in some healing potions, because, it's still... It's still magical, but you won't be drawing it from a person, just a prepared solution.
Oh, yeah, no, I know how to make those.
Oh, very good.
I like potion making. It's like making soup. Magic soup.
Yes. But those would be good to have on hand in case you do get into some trouble and have to refuse healing magic.
And he will reach into his pocket and pull out a. Actually, let me roll d10. Hammer space. Yeah, he reaches into his pocket and he pulls out a little glass vial filled with a glowing bright blue liquid. And he says, check and check.
Oh, that's uh, 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 that's a recipe from the mirror, I expect.
Yep. And he kind of smiles. This one's for injury specifically. Blue is for injury, yellow is for sickness, green is for infection.
Ah. Well, if you can, and if you can figure out how to get a supply of the components, you could learn to make the sort of local blend, which tends to work on all three to a limited effect. Injuries is perhaps its specialty. Infection, it's sort of so-so. Disease, also kind of so-so. You might want a different spell for that, but it'll help with all three of them.
Neat. And he
Yes.
kind of nods and says, I'll have to look into that. I've found that with certain substitutions and certain awareness of local symbology, mirror recipes can be replicated. That's how I was able to make. He kind of grins. That's how I was able to make lemonade.
Oh. Magical
But
lemonade or regular lemonade?
lemon AID.
Ah,
It's a pun.
I see.
Not my idea. I wish it was. That was very clever. It was Jubilee's idea. I don't know if you know Jubilee. A lot of people seem to know Jubilee.
Oh, I've met him.
He's nice. He's the person who got in trouble with me when we were experimenting with potions.
Ah, that doesn't surprise me.
But lemonade is sort of a mass restorative
Ah,
with a certain situation that I brought with me by accident. It seems to be, well, I invented the potion in the first place to keep people from dying from that.
oh,
And it works. Works very well. Even on people who have weaker systems that maybe can't keep up with the amount of damage done, which is good, because that's the intention. And it doesn't. That's a whole mess. And he kind of sighs and just said, I'm just really glad we were able to replicate the medicine.
right. Yes, I imagine so. That's...
It's part of why I'm trying to get home so hard. It just. I don't want to get anyone here stuck with that. And if I brought it with me, then if I get home, that means that I've left. That means that the problem is no longer here.
You're a vector for something.
And he kind of nods and says, Well, he doesn't actually say anything. He lifts his hand up, and you can actually see what look like splatter marks going up his wrist from underneath his gloves.
Huh. Interesting.
Magical parasites. Not fun.
No, not at all.
And they tend to... They... mm. They tend to take a lot more than people can give. This one in particular does. I can wrangle it, because it can't eat me, because I don't have magic. But it seems to have made a habit of jumping to people I touch, hence gloves. Very important.
Yes.
It seems to have made a habit of jumping to people I come into contact with. I bumped into Jubilee at a flower shop, and that was enough.
Oh, my.
Yeah, it can be very quick. Which makes sense, because in the world where it's from, it's just a rule of reality.
A rule of reality?
He kind of shrugs and says, "It's called overblot. If you use too much of your magic when you're in too bad of a headspace, you become something else. You stop being yourself, and it takes you over, and... Well, you know the thing I mentioned from the mines that was trying to kill us?
Yes.
That's what happens.
I see.
It creates a monster, a construct that rules over you, and you spend your last hours defending this thing as it finishes growing. And when it's done, it swallows you up, and you're gone forever. And all that's left of you is the very worst of you, kept inside a horrible, monstrous thing that will run on your last impulse for the rest of its eternal life.
I see.
It can be cured, and it can be solved, and I have gotten very, very good at that, but...
Did you, have, were you you said it was a rule of reality. Were you carrying it in the mirror, or was that not really, was everyone sort of a carrier in the mirror?
Everyone was a carrier, and I became one by proxy, by contact.
Sure,
I...
certainly.
If you want to talk about it like a thing of infection, I would have been infected when I helped Riddle, and he was the first I ever experienced go that dark, and he's why I started making the lemonade potions, because I don't ever want to see anyone go that way again.
I see.
Riddle was very small and very skinny and very underfed, undertaken care of, overachiever, very stressed. He did not have the best immune system. If I had not been there, and Old Trade had not worked, and that stupid lullaby had not turned out to be special, powerful healing magic in that world, apparently, I would have lost a friend.
I see.
And that is not an ideal outcome.
No, of course not. Well, it sounds like you're being very responsible about it.
I try. We've been keeping people warned through the group chat of, the signs to look out for, the symptoms of the infection, what to do if you're infected, but
I see. I might have
there's
to
only
go.
so much you can do.
Right. I might have to go back and find that. I think I was indisposed when you arrived.
From what I've heard, that might have been right. You and a couple other people in the group chat, you all got snatched?
I got snatched, and mm, Leo and a few other friends came to help me, and
So you had
everyone they
people to
were.
help.
Huh?
That's good. You
Oh,
had people to help. That's good.
oh, of course. I mean, everyone around here is just kind of like that.
It's been so strange, but yes, I know what you mean. He kind of laughs and smiles. It's nice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you got out of wherever you got snatched to safely. And yes, please do read up on, we have medicine for this now, and I can make more of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But we would prefer as few infections as possible. Actually, check your hands.
Uh,
Uh,
yeah, he will look.
because you shook my hand earlier, so it might have transferred. Is there any ink smudges?
I don't see anything. No.
And you kind of closes his eyes and focuses and says, It doesn't feel like any went to you. Okay, you should be safe. Maybe it just doesn't like you.
Maybe. I might be, incompatible.
Bit spicy.
Hmm. Perhaps.
It tends to go after. Well, it goes after people who are powerful, but it seems to know when either someone is not compatible with it mentally
Hmm.
or someone will be far, far too much for it to chew.
Interesting. I wonder which one I am.
Let's hope we don't have to find out.
Quite. Huh. Um, there is one other thing I noticed when I cast Identify on you
Hmm?
that you should know about. You. It is an effect that reveals. Let's see. It sees through illusions, and it shows the true form of shape changers, and it shows things that are not quite existing in the same place in this world. Ghosts and such, things that are just a little bit beyond the veil. You know what I mean?
Sure, I get that. I've had my fair share of encounters with them.
Right. Things
Don't
that are,
suppose any of them decided to hitchhike.
uh, hmm, not quite. At least by the positioning, it doesn't seem so to me. Um, but, hmm, uh, your form looked significantly different under this effect.
Like, bad different, or.
Uh, hmm,
Because if it was just human, then that would make sense, but if it's something
no.
else, that would be concerning.
It is concerning. It's not just human. Uh, I mean, it was a humanoid shape, roughly, um, and wearing a sort of maid's outfit, sort of a cleaning sort of dress. Uh, and, well, instead of a human figure, it was just sort of a mass of ink.
Oh. Oh, I know what that is. Okay. That It was just me, but inky and wearing a maid's dress.
Uh, it wasn't quite. Hmm. It wasn't quite recognizable as you. There was a lot of ink. That could have been it. Um, and but if you'd been able to move the ink, maybe your figure would have been able to be under there. Hard to tell. But no, there was two other factors. There was there was a mask, just sort of a generic face with a neutral expression, a white mask. It appeared chalky. And about the neck and wrists, sort of a yellow threads, which, at least based on our world's magic, I tend to see that sort of symbology in relation to enchantment spells under that effect. And the glyph, the rune, was glowing and pulling in light, which I suppose is surprising.
That's concerning.
Does any of this mean anything to you?
The dress, at least, is familiar. I don't look like this when I show up in ink space, which is part of the whole curing overblot process.
Interesting.
I
Ink space.
It's sort of a mindscape, not really, more of a
Oh, demiplane?
kind of,
Pocket dimension?
sort of. It's like the back door. That is the wrong voice. It's like the back door into everyone's hellbrain.
Oh, wow.
Think of it as like a collective pool of anxiety and stress and frustration.
Ah,
All the little itty bitty icks throughout the day stack one on top of the other and become that place.
I see.
And from there, you can reach anyone who's been infected with Overlord,
Interesting.
provided they're still alive, provided you have the keys. And I'm usually the one who has the keys.
Uh-huh. Oh, right, so that's the outfit. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Or,
Sort of the maid of the manor, I guess.
I suppose. Although, why... I would expect it to have appeared backwards from how it did, though. I would expect to, if I encountered you in ink space, for you to look like that there, and I would sort of look past to your true form and see, well, I suppose that would be a human who looks probably a good deal like you do now?
Presumably.
Right. Only it didn't do that. We're here. You look like this here. And that was shown as your core form.
I don't know why. I I am myself,
Right.
at least as far as I know.
Right. You didn't say, you don't originate from ink space.
Not that I know of. He kind of scratches at the back of his neck, like, I mean, I get pulled there, apparently, when people overplot, but
Right.
other than that, I'm not from there.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
I don't know why that would be it. And the other stuff doesn't add up either.
Mm-hmm.
I've never I've never exactly been one to wear a mask, unless you count Masquerade, but that was
Mm.
a festival, and that doesn't really count.
Mm-hmm. There's no mask-related magic practices that you can remember.
Well, there is, but I'm not Fae.
Uh, well, what was it,
Fairy
out of curiosity?
fairies in the mirror, a mask was one of the two forms they would concentrate their true name into.
Hmm.
And you said it was blank and neutral. That wouldn't be it if that was the case. A fairy concentrates their true name into two forms, a mask and a staff,
Hmm.
or sometimes just into a staff, if they're particularly powerful.
Mm-hmm.
It's effectively a separation of the identity from the power.
Mm-hmm.
The mask is a representation of personal identity. It's a collection of memories of personality.
So it should be expressive.
It should be very expressive and colorful and a reflection of the person's, again, their innermost personality.
Right.
I My old headmaster, Crowley, he had a mask because he was an archfey, and
Hmm.
his was about the simplest I'd ever seen, but even that was very detailed. It was a black mask resembling, at least partially, the skull of a bird.
I see. Hmm. No, it wasn't like that.
Masks are important in the mirror because to the Fae, they're a representation of self. If you take a Fae's mask, you have power over them.
Mm-hmm.
If you break it, you can reduce them down to the very weakest form of themselves.
I see. I see.
Being able to wear one is a mark of extreme pride because it represents some inherent knowledge of who you are that makes you confident enough in yourself that you're not afraid of what happens if that mask gets stolen or broken. And the
Mm-hmm.
Fae are proud by nature, so they do it
Right.
because they are so very smart.
Huh. Well.
I say this as though I did not have to teach a fairy how to talk to people. Bless your heart, Malleus.
You'll find that Fae here are not exactly the same, but similar in some of those ways.
Prideful, unsocialized.
Unsocialized, it depends on the Fae, I would say. But more the idea of the most powerful ones having very interesting ways of sort of expressing that and dealing with that power. And I don't know that we have. Hmm. I There are some circles in which masks would have a significant hold, significant power, uh, but most often around here it's more emphasis on the true names.
Mhm. That's what the mask thing is it's a reflection of a true name, or it's
Ah,
a piece of a true name concentrated down.
I see, I see. Right, same concept, different execution.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Um, and, well, I am sort of going with the assumption that the, threads around the wrist and neck are the enchantment magic that I was able to detect. Would you have any sort of uh idea of it being something else besides that?
That I can think of, but I also can't think of. Also can't think of where it would have come from.
Tell me, are memories something that can be manipulated with magic in the mirror?
Well, yeah, memory magic is normal from what I can tell. Or at
Well,
the very least, everywhere that has some form of magic is likely to come up with some form of memory magic.
mm-hmm. Well, then it's difficult to rule anything out just because you don't remember when it happened.
You think someone was messing with my memories?
I think it's possible. I don't know
Well, that's a
why.
horrifying thought.
Yes, I'm sorry, it is. I don't know why or who, but yes, possible. I'm hoping that something here, if that is the case, would be able to help reverse that. There are mechanisms for it within our own magic systems. So, as long as they're at least a bit compatible, uh, you you have decent odds. If there's anything missing, you've got a fair chance of recovering it. Just might take a little
Uh,
work.
well, I'm no stranger to work. I'm
Mm.
good at that. Sorry, you came here to get a file and
Well, I came here to get a file, check my mail, and talk to you. That's what we're doing.
I'm certain you didn't mean for getting involved in all this nonsense.
Mm, no, I kind of did. I expected it would be, uh, not very simple. I mean, you know, Moria, uh, is also. What was the term she used? Displaced?
Displaced.
Right, right. Uh, eh, if you know, anything about certain genres of Earth media, and if this does translate over, you might have something similar to the word isekai.
Yes, it's a whole genre of anime, and I may not have been super into that, but my best friend was.
Yes, you too are that by technicality.
Yep,
And it is rarely simple.
really isn't.
But that's the sort of, situation at which I'm, uniquely suited to sorting out.
Well, thank you for your help. I really do appreciate it.
Certainly. You, uh, let that, astronomy, knowledge, he sort of, like, taps at his forehead, just sort of, seep out gradually and, give me your notes when you're done.
I will do my best.
All right. Well, we've got some things to think on, I think. Some avenues of research. No?
Good.
Hmm?
It's another avenue open, which is very helpful.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, I'll be in touch. Unless there's, anything else I can help you with while I'm here?
Not that I know of. You've already helped me a lot more than I was expecting to be helped today.
All right. Well, have a good rest of your day then.
You too, and travel safe.
Thank you. Let, Moria's pretty good at being able to track me down when I'm, less, contactable. So,
Keep that in mind.
right. All right. Good day, Hugh. Good day, Dyer. I will. I will see you another time.
See you another time. Have a good day. And he will wave at you.
Yep. Yep. Professor's gonna tip his hat and make his way out. Well, now.
A lot happened.
Yeah, not quite the things that we thought would happen, but maybe later.
Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, I think they ended up being pretty polite, so they didn't get that
Indeed.
far. Well, in that case, then, it has been lovely playing with you.
It has been lovely playing with you as well.
Audience, stay tuned. This may develop further. Um, and thank you all for listening, present and future. And we wish you all a good time zone. Goodbye.
Have a great time zone. Bye bye.